What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Welcome back to Bailey Price Media Live. Here we are live here on the first edition in the year 2025 of College Football Review. And man, I can't wait to get to it. K-State took on Iowa State out in Dublin, Ireland. I don't know why Farmageddon, a game that's been played since 1917, is being played in Dublin, Ireland, but they took them on, and Rocco Becht and Iowa State got the best of Avery Johnson and K-State, and I can't wait to discuss that game and the rest of the games from the weekend with my main man, Coach Leroy Frederick, here. He joins the show here in a sec. So if you're watching, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, become a member of the Bailey Price Media Army today. I can't thank you enough for joining. College football is here. NFL football is on the horizon here, and we got a great week of college football ahead. I'm going to break that down here as well. Without further ado, though, I got my special guest, my main man, Alcorn State, Coach Leroy Frederick, joins the show. Coach Fred, we got you?
Yes, sir. What's up, dude?
Coach Fred, what up? How you doing?
I'm good.
Here, I think we're getting some connection issues from Coach Fred. Coach, leave and rejoin the studio real quick. We'll get you back on here and start really diving into the weekend of games ahead. Chat, if you're watching here, let me know your thoughts on the games from the weekend here. How'd you feel about K-State? I thought that was a super sloppy and frustrating game to watch, to be honest with you. I don't know why they play these games in Ireland, but I also am not surprised at the sloppiness and struggles within the game. I still think Avery Johnson's one of the better quarterbacks in the Big 12. I just think that he and Beck that time really were slow in their opener. I think traveling that far takes a toll, not only on them, but the whole team as a whole here. We'll wait for Coach Fred to join back here. I can't wait to discuss the Shedeur Sanders craze with him, because I really don't understand I'm going to call it a victim mentality with Shedeur. The outcry about Shedeur Sanders is insanity. I thought Shaw King put it best on JB's show, and people don't really like to hear it, but he right now is not ahead of Dylan Gabriel. I mean, I guess he had a good first preseason game, but I think he's still not ahead of Gabriel. People are sitting here anointing him, saying he should be a starter. I don't agree with that at all. And then the outrage on Twitter saying that the Browns aren't giving him a fair opportunity. Hearing RG3 go on a rant about how, they're giving Dylan Gabriel a fair opportunity, but not Shedeur. I think it's bullshit. I think you have to understand the politics of where he was drafted. He's a fifth-round pick. Dylan Gabriel was drafted in the third round. I've also mentioned Dylan Gabriel's a lefty, and Kevin Stefanski, in order to draft a lefty that high, had to be all in on Dylan Gabriel in his system, schematically on offense. Let's go ahead and bring in our main man, Alcorn State, Coach Leroy Frederick back. Coach Fred, there we go. What up? How you doing, Coach Fred? Happy Monday.
Man, same to you. I'm good, man. I don't know. I try to do it from the office, but hey, oh well. Here we are. Let's go.
We here, Coach Fred. We in the building, my man. And
yes,
let's dive into it, because this is a quiet, great weekend here at college football here as we begin our first edition of College Football Review in the year of 2025. I can't thank you enough for being a co-host here on College Football Review. Can't thank you enough. K-State, Iowa State. I was so excited coming into this game here. I was really excited for this game, and I'm going to be honest, sloppy game here, frustrating game here, and I was really frustrated from the turnover standpoint. Dylan Edwards got hurt really early on a punt return here, and everyone going at him. I mean, I don't understand the outcry. I get it didn't look like a scary play, but he's hurt and dealing with some stuff, but he'll come back. Avery Johnson, I thought could have played better, and then the title is kind of a joke here. Avery Johnson and K-State fight hard and lost. Oh boy, I don't know if you got a chance to see or even saw this on Twitter, but Avery Johnson's dad and Avery Johnson's brother got into a fight, and what I'm guessing and is a difference of opinions of some sort, obviously. Not to worry, though, Coach Fred. They put out an apology saying we sincerely apologize for our actions involving the football game in Ireland, etc. But, Coach, did you get a chance to watch the K-State game? What are your biggest takeaways from that game and then the Avery Johnson dad fight?
We couldn't have been farther off with our predictions from what we thought. So we're both in the hole on that game.
Yeah.
The turnovers, It looked like a first game of the year, and then it also looked like teams that have traveled across a large body of water to get ready to play
Yeah,
a football
literally.
game. So yeah, I think if this is on one of those campuses, I think this is a different ball game. But I think factor in that travel, Bailey, and it being the first game of the year, I think that put both of them in harm's way, so to speak, and just so happened that Iowa State outlasted them.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, this is a rivalry game. It's going back to 1917, I believe. I don't understand why they're playing in Dublin, Ireland. And this is just a super sloppy game. The field conditions I did not think were great at all,
Didn't
which
look
I'm
that way.
certain didn't help. Weather was not great, rainy. Just, I think you put it best, though. It looked like teams that had traveled overseas, traveled a long way, and a team that are teams that are playing in the first game for sure. Now, I don't. I still think Avery Johnson has the potential to be one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the Big 12. But I don't know. I thought that was a tough game for him, especially him losing his running back early, Edwards, him having to respond. I mean, I thought he played well at times, and I thought there was times he struggled. Um, what are your other biggest takeaways from this game on offense, particularly on K State? And then I thought Beck ended up finding a way to get his team to win on Iowa State's side.
It was, I think both teams are trying to be, are going to end up being who we think they are. I think K State's going to be a very good RPO type of team
Yeah,
with the quarterback that they have. And I think if our state, if they can find their footing, they'll be what they've been in the past. Run heavy, uh, throw when needed type of deal. But I don't think the weather conditions gave either one of these teams the chance to really hone in on what they wanted to do. I
facts.
think the K-State quarterback was definitely hampered by the weather. And, my question to you about that is, how much beer do you think dad and brother drank?
Oh shit. Yes. I mean, it's again, Coach. I don't. That's a weird situation to me. I could only imagine what was said that led to that. I could only imagine what the difference of opinions is about. I mean,
I could
it's
imagine fighting my dad. Like that type of fighting. That,
fighting ever like, and then they're in a public setting too, Coach.
yeah,
It is really, I mean,
puzzling.
puzzling for sure. Moving ahead in the games from the weekend, Kansas took on Fresno in their brand new stadium, and man, Kansas looked really good. Blew them out. Played really well defensively. Really shut down EJ Warner from the offensive perspective. Really put him through the ringer here. Gave him a lot of struggles. And man, JB came on his show this morning. Said he thinks Kansas can win the Big 12 and is a playoff team. Now, I don't know if I go that far. I'm pretty high on Jalen Daniels, Coach Leipold, and the Jayhawks, but I wouldn't say that far. But what was your reaction to that game? I thought they played really, really well in their opener.
They did, and I'm looking back now. I missed that game. Uh, I was kind of on the fence, but I thought Fresno would give a better game
Yeah,
than
me
they
too.
actually gave.
Yeah,
than they
me
actually
too.
gave. But you know, I don't want to go out there kind of like my guy JB and say playoff team, but they look much much better than they were last year. That last game, watching them, the Jayhawks, that is, finish the season, they look much better, man, much better.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I really think, I mean, I like what Kansas did offensively. I thought they were really unique schematically. I think they got really creative. There were a couple plays that I ended up went back and watching. I mean, man, I thought they were really creative schematically. I thought Jalen Daniels really, really got comfortable. And I
Yes.
mean, shit, that's what he's really neat because he's a great player, potentially one of the best quarterbacks in the country. If we're being real, if he can really settle in and going back to Kansas last season, they were a one-win team, but one loss, one score lost team. Like in all other losses, Coach, they were really close to having a good season. What do you were about to say something? Go ahead.
No, if you remember what we talked about on the show leading up,
Hmm.
both of these quarterbacks, one turned it over and the other one didn't.
Yeah, yeah,
And the one
yeah,
that won is the one that didn't turn it over. Uh,
yeah. Well, and that's a credit to Kansas defense because I think they really frustrated EJ Warner, getting a lot of pressure, getting through Fresno's offensive line. And I mean, I thought EJ Warner would have put up. I mean, I don't know. I thought offensively Fresno would have done more than that. I was really surprised that it was a 14-7 ball game, and just they couldn't get anything cracking after that. So
No run
props to
game.
Kansas there. And now we'll see how they look come conference play here. I'm sure they probably have another non-conference opponent or two here before they begin Big 12 play here. Shout out to Uncle Buffs in the chat. Can't thank you enough for tuning in. I did see the video of Georgia Tech safety talking crazy about Colorado. I'll say he's certainly taking some shots at Colorado in an open press conference. So Matt McChesney and I are going to discuss that tomorrow. Stay tuned to 0 to 60 for that. But I did see that, and Matt McChesney. Matt already DM'd me, and we have some words for that tomorrow. So stay tuned. That's quite the words from the Georgia Tech safety on Colorado there, I will say. Coach, I got to discuss this Browns quarterback situation with you because that's a hot topic on this show, of course, and every show. But I want to attack it from a different lens here and not really dive into Shedeur struggling in the Browns preseason finale against the Rams here. But I wanted to discuss a comment that I think went under the radar here a little bit. Herm Edwards, longtime NFL and college coach, said, I thought Shedeur played well in the preseason, but when I watched Gabriel play, oh boy, it was different. Now, Coach Fred, we had Super Bowl champion Sean King on Coach JB's show this morning. He discussed how he believes Dylan Gabriel is more NFL ready than Shedeur, possibly more developed than Shedeur, and he thinks we see that in his play. Now, what are your thoughts on Herm Edwards' comments here? Certainly interesting comments from Coach.
I mean, brash and bold, but that's who Coach, Edwards has been known to be. And, I think if others were being as truthful as he is being, I think we wouldn't have this issue that we're having right now. That quarterback battle, Bailey, because you think about it, Bailey, when was the last time that you can remember or I can remember outside of Johnny Manziel that Cleveland ever got this kind of buzz?
Yeah, seriously. I mean, and I don't think it's people don't realize. I think it's more like I think the level of media coverage may be more than Johnny Manziel to an extent, just because of the Sanders hype. I mean, Coach Fred, Shedeur Sanders may be among the top 5 most popular players in the NFL. He's certainly the most popular player on the Browns roster. If we're talking strictly popularity, obviously Myles Garrett is by far the best player on the roster. If we're talking popularity, Shedeur certainly makes that case. So there's that point as well.
And he's probably tops in the league or one of the top 5 in the league, and he's yet to play a real NFL game. His jersey can't stay in stock. The media requests, the pictures, it's through the roof for someone that hadn't played a down, a real down, an actual NFL game. Mm-hmm. And I wonder how much of this, like I said from the beginning, that the Browns created. And now I wonder, and I'll ask you the question, are they regretting the media hype that they put themselves in with this?
No, because I think they're playing the long game with this. Because ultimately, we said it, Coach. We didn't expect to see Shedeur Sanders on the field for Cleveland anytime soon. It was always going to be he's battling with Gabriel. They knew the media hype when they drafted him. They knew that this is what's going to come. I think they're actually reaping the benefits of it in terms of ticket sales, jersey sales, etc. So I think they knew what they were getting into. But I also think fans and people watching the game, even those in media who I think have some questionable takes about this quarterback situation, really need to understand that Dylan Gabriel is drafted ahead of Shedeur. They look at Gabriel higher than Shedeur, and it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot for Shedeur to ever be able to change that. That's the thing. And Shedeur is going to constant battle this season is going to be Dylan Gabriel, because neither of them are the backup, Coach Fred. They kept Kenny Pickett on the roster. We had a show last week saying, why haven't they traded Kenny Pickett? There's your answer. They don't think either of them are really ready to play meaningful time in an NFL game. What do you think about that?
We talked about it, and I just don't see what they have lined up, Bailey, because it's unheard of to keep four quarterbacks. Really a fifth, because you're still paying dead money to my guy,
Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun
Yeah.
Watson. It's really dead money, and you're talking about a fifth type quarterback. Are you going to pay five quarterbacks? Essentially four? I mean, what are you doing?
They must be really high on their roster, Coach Fred, because I mean, you don't keep four quarterbacks. I mean, really five, unless you're really high on your roster. And I mean, Cleveland's roster as a whole, really, I mean, it's pretty decent. Like, I mean, their defense as a whole is solid. They're going to piss people off on the defensive side of the ball. You got two solid superstars on Denzel Ward, and then obviously
But
Myles
Bailey,
Garrett.
they're not AFC Championship game roster right now.
No, 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 not at all. They got to figure out the run game. They have a lot of young pieces on the offensive side of the ball. I think they really have to figure out. Now, what do you think of them keeping Kenny Pickett? I mean, it's just them. They don't think Dylan Gabriel's ready. They don't think Shador's ready. Now, do you think they'll keep four quarterbacks the whole season? Do you think there's a chance Shador gets shipped somewhere? I'm hearing all kinds of rumors from the Browns fans, prime sexuals, and the Colorado fans. It's all the media hype and there's all kinds of stuff out there. Coach, I want to get your perspective as an active coach yourself here.
I can't see keeping that many quarterbacks, but then I guess we have up until tomorrow with the deadline. They've got to make a move, especially if you're going all in on Joe Flacco and you're going all in on Kenny Pickett. You've got to have a solid on your third, because if you don't have a solid on your third, what are you saying? Those two are playing for the third, and you're going to keep them around to see what happens? I got to believe that at some point here between now at 3:22 Central, and tomorrow's deadline, somebody's not going to be there. I got to assume that, but then again, we're talking about the Browns, and they may want to keep this thing going, but I don't know how you keep your roster intact with keeping four paid quarterbacks. That just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, seriously. And I mean, I still think Kenny Pickett's the wild man out personally, because I think they'll, if they have any sort of struggles, they're going to go down the list here. They're going to rotate through quarterbacks quick. I think they went through how many quarterbacks last year? I think Zach Jackson said, and it's more than three. I know that. Zach Jackson came on here and talked about that. Cleveland Browns reporter for The Athletic. But it's certainly interesting comments going back to Coach Edwards saying he's certainly high on Dylan Gabriel. I'm surprised that the Browns don't lean into that.
But, again, like we said, through the draft process, some people had, Sanders here, some people had him there. Mm-hmm. And, obviously on Cleveland's board, they had Dylan Gabriel. Obviously, New York had Dart, so throughout the process, throughout the process, there was a lot of people that did not have him bona fide as others. And, the thing that you kind of touched on is that this thing has really turned personal for a lot of people.
Yes.
I heard people say that they set him up for failure in the last preseason game with the people that he was playing with. But those guys have been playing with the other quarterbacks as well, correct?
Yeah, and the people Gabriel's playing with, they have no guarantee of making the roster either. He's playing – they're all in the same position here. So I don't understand that narrative, the excuse, what I came out and started the show with, the victim mentality for Shador here, defending the shit out of it. I mean, people got to be real here. Sean King came on JB show and was like, people act like this is the first time a quarterback has fallen in the drafts, the first time a quarterback has done well in the preseason or struggled in the preseason or even played in the preseason. Like, I don't know, everyone's so infatuated and has so much defense for sure. Yeah. I mean, I just call it for what it is. I praise him when it's well, and I call it out when it's negative, but it's neither way, him struggling or him doing well, he's not jumping Gabriel anytime soon. I've been saying that it's going to take a lot of time before that happens. So that's my point.
And there's money involved now. There's money involved. Again, as they say, all these owners are billion-dollar guys. I get that part, but the only way to stay a billionaire is not to give your billionaire money away. And essentially, that's what they would be doing, because Deshaun Watson's on the hook for guaranteed money. Then you've got Joe Flacco, who has a lot of years under his belt. Kenny Pickett, who has years under his belt,
Mm-hmm.
Dylan Gabriel, who's a third-round pick, whose scale falls here, there, whatever, and then you got Sanders, whose scale is going to fall somewhere in. Not to mention all the money they just gave Myles Garrett. Not to mention those other guys they've got to, pay. And then, like you said, at some point, if it's not from one of these quarterbacks, they've got to find somebody to run the rock consistently to
Seriously.
keep Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, or whoever's calling the signals standing upright. Because if you don't have a run game, we already know what that means.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. Absolutely. Continuing our college football review here, going back to some college games before we get some predictions here for the Thursday game, because we won't have you on until our next edition of CFB review. But Coach, UNLV Dan Mullen took on Idaho State, and 28-point favorites really struggled. Started off. Dan Mullen came in saying they were going to play both the Virginia transfer quarterback and Alex Orji. Alex Orji has an opening drive or an early drive, fumbles on a touchdown run when he was in the end zone, damn near fumble, and then we didn't really see much of him after that. Virginia quarterback took over, had about 7 series, and looked pretty damn good actually. But Idaho State really kept up with UNLV. There was that game, and then Hawaii. What did I tell you, Coach? Hawaii take care of Stanford. Lower scoring game.
You did.
But what are your reaction to those 2 games before we make some predictions? Get you out of here.
Man, that UNLV Idaho State game, there was over 1,000 yards of total offense.
Yeah.
Over 1,000 yards of total offense.
No defense. Yeah.
So somebody's got to fix the defense to where they can get at least 2 stops a game, or it's going to be a long season for both of these guys. That stood out the most for me. And then all I could do when I saw that Hawaii-Stanford game was laugh, because you told me, and I'm just like, there's no way Stanford blows this opportunity, because if they don't get this one, which they didn't, it's going to be a long year. It's going to be a long year.
Yes. And I had a chance to sit down with Levi Rogers, who just played at Stanford. He's my high school teammate, good friend of mine. I had a chance to sit down and talk with him. He talked about Stanford and just kind of the perspective since he stopped playing there. And it is a hard place to win. Certainly just the dynamics of being a Stanford football player. They don't look at you the same as like other schools where you're like big man on campus. You're just a regular cat there because Stanford. Regular cats are making millions. It's interesting. On top of it, getting transfer kids into Stanford academically is, it's a daunting task. So they're going to be. I think it's going to be hard for Coach Reich, who he was really, really high on and thinks he does a hell of a job. But it's going to be hard for them to win. The one thing he did note, though, Andrew Luck going into that program was a great move. I discussed that with him a few months back, but it's certainly a good move for the program in the long run, I think.
But it's a different college landscape now. So, the day and age of, going out and talking to real high academic athletes to coming there, the Andrew Lucks, the Christian McCaffreys, convincing those guys to come there just got 10 times harder, because now those kids can go, and if they are on that level, those kids can go elsewhere out of the portal and go get the bag, as they all say. Stanford's not letting all those. You just not jumping to your second school, and your second school being Stanford. I just don't see that happening. You're not going to be able to leave Alcorn State and go get into Stanford. Stanford's not going to allow that. Even if they could, I just don't think they're going to allow that. And then the telling stat of that game, Bailey, when you think about Stanford of old, they barely passed for 100 yards.
Yeah. It's just a lot has changed, Coach. It's just the Harbaugh days, and seriously, a lot has changed. Shout out to Hawaii, good win for them. I still think they're also in a tough spot, tough to win, but it was a good way to start their season. Stanford starts their season off on a tough note. Coach, I wanted to get your prediction on a couple games here before we get you out of here. Nebraska and Cincinnati open up in Arrowhead Stadium. Cincinnati is 6.5-point underdogs, technically, even though it's a neutral site stadium. At Arrowhead, Dylan Raiola is quarterback in Nebraska. Cincinnati's got some starters coming back for them as well. Coach, what are your expectations for that game? Any predictions? Any input there?
As I'm sitting here looking at it, it's up to 7 now. Nebraska. I think they've got to come on. I think the expectation for Coach Rule's program is where it is right now, at an all-time high. I think he's got to. If they struggle, it could be a long year for Nebraska. But I think they've got to go ahead and they've got to send a statement here. And Cincinnati's not the Cincinnati of old as we've come to know them the last couple of years. They've lost a couple coaches. And, that program, I won't say it's fallen on hard times, but it's not the Cincinnati of the past, 4 seasons, we say? 5 seasons?
Sure.
So, this game's important for them as well. And being a neutral site game, man, it'll be interesting to see how many Nebraska fans can pack it. But I got to go with Nebraska to cover on this one.
Yeah, give me Nebraska to cover. I think Nebraska has the potential to win 10 games this season, get to double digits. I really do. Their schedule allows it too. It starts with a win here. I really think Dylan Raiola is going to take the step up, having a whole offseason to develop. And Dana Holgerson's offense, and Rule brought him in kind of mid-season, the end of last year. Now they've had a whole offseason to develop. I think Dylan Raiola is going to take that next step this season. I don't give a shit about what people say about the Mahomes thing or the fact that I cover Colorado and it's Nebraska. I think he's a good player, and I think he has the potential to really have a good season for Coach Rule in Nebraska. That's all I got to say. Shout out to Coach Rule for starting the House Rules podcast, too. I asked Coach Fred about that on Friday.
Coach Rule got to bring me on, man. He's got to bring me on.
Seriously, I got to make some connections, see if we can get you on there, Coach. But, man, there's a whole weekend of college football ahead. We'll get your breakdown later in the week. But, Coach, love having you on for College Football Review, first edition here. Really, we're going to have a lot to discuss next Monday, even previewing a game. I think it was a game that Monday night as well. So lots to discuss here. And then you got a guest on the Common podcast here on Wednesday?
Actually, we are going to set up in the hotel, man, me and the head coach. I'm going to interview my boss before the game. So we'll be set up as we play Thursday night over in Northwestern State, over in Natchitoches, Louisiana. So we're going to set up in the hotel. We're going to run the show from there, player coach interviews, and let people behind the curtains on the travel scene for a college football team and kind of go from there, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All those watching, go check out Coach Fred on the Common Man podcast. He does a hell of a job. And, man, that's gonna be a great interview. I'll surely be tuning in. That makes me excited, Coach. And, man, love getting your perspective on College Football Review. We'll have you back on, get your perspective on the games this weekend. And, man, the reaction with Shedeur Sanders and the Colorado fans on the quarterback situation is crazy. Go ahead.
Hey, I need you to write this down because I want to check back with you on this.
Go ahead.
In a few weeks. Dana Holgerson and Matt Rule.
Mm-hmm.
If it spits or sputters by week 3, week 4-ish, are they still locked in?
That's a good question. Like I think Nebraska's schedule is super light though on the first few weeks though, Coach. Let me see just real quick. They play Akron, Houston Christian, and then they play Michigan on September 20th. So that'll be the real test for them.
Lot of emotion, a lot of fiery guys. You should be running the ball and you throwing it. What happens? You know what I mean? What happens?
I think Dylan. I think Dylan Raiola is in a good spot, man. I think it starts with I think Nebraska is a significantly better team overall than Cincinnati, especially in the trenches. So I'm really expecting Nebraska to pound the rock and then get after them. and the quarterback, defensively from the defensive line, I expect them to get after since he's quarterback. So I don't know. I think they'll start off the season that way. They got tested against Michigan, SC, and then Penn State at the end of the year. And I still think they have the potential to win 10 games. I don't think they're beating Penn State. That's the one team I don't think they have a shot in winning. Other than that, I think it's fair game. So, interesting.
Minnesota? Yeah, we'll see.
Minnesota's tough. The PJ Fleck and Be Elite row the boat. They're going to be tough and Achilles heel to certain teams for sure, as they are every year. But Cornhusker fans, I think you have a lot of things to be optimistic for. That's what I'll say.
I'll leave it there.
Yeah, exactly. We'll leave it there. Coach Fred, can't thank you enough for joining. Love getting your perspective. Go check out Coach Fred and the Common Man podcast. You're live 5 p.m. Central, still correct?
Yes, we should be set up at the hotel by then, and if there's any changes, because we'll post it. But, 5 o'clock is when we're looking to get rocking.
Sounds good. Go check out Coach Fred, the Common Man podcast, 5 p.m. Central. He does a hell of a job over there. Exclusive. That's an exclusive show from an active Division I coach. Coach Fred, can't thank you enough for joining. We'll see you later in the week. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, Big. Have a good one.
You too. Thank you so much. Shout out to Alcorn State Coach Leroy Frederick for joining the show. Love getting his perspective on the show every week. Can't thank him enough for joining. I love getting Coach Fred's perspective in college football review, the yearly show here that we have on Bailey Price Media Live. Richard Porter, you're asking in the chat, what time do you do Matt's pod? Matt's show is at 2 p.m. Eastern every day. So I do Matt's show at 2 p.m. Eastern, and then here we're live on Bailey Price Media Live at 4 p.m. Eastern weekdays here. So stay tuned and tune in, because we got a couple special guests here this week that I'm really excited to have on, and a lot to discuss here as the season is here, lots to discuss, and I'm really excited to have a great season here, really grow a community of football fanatics, football fans here on Bailey Price Media. If you're watching, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, become a member of the Bailey Price Media Army. Shout out to Cake Ash and everybody else in the chat watching the show. Best show on planet Earth. Shout out to you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys supporting Bailey Price Media. It's just we're just getting started here, brother. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you guys all so much for watching. We'll be live here tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern, so don't miss it. Be here tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, for another edition of Bailey Price Media Live. I'll see you tomorrow, folks. Peace.